Gentleman yields back. Ms. Haling is recognized for 5 minutes.
Good morning. Thank you, Mr. Chairman and Mr. Ranking Member and the rest of the committee for giving me the opportunity to testify today. My name's Mary Kay Haling. I'm a resident of Raleigh, North Carolina, a former teacher, a former Nash Rocky Mountain School Board member in North Carolina, a retired fitness instructor, a U.S. citizen, and an unaffiliated registered voter in Wake County.
What's up, Patriots? Welcome back to America First. I'm your host, and if you believe in putting America first, make sure you hit that like button and subscribe right now, because we're diving into some serious issues that affect every single American voter. Ring that notification bell too, because YouTube doesn't always show you our content. Today I'm reacting to testimony from Mary Kay Haling, a North Carolina voter who appeared before what looks like a congressional committee to discuss voter registration challenges in her state.
I moved back to North Carolina in late January of 2016 and promptly registered to vote on February 19th using my name and the last 4 digits of my Social Security number. I have voted regularly since then. In 2024, I voted in person in both the primary and general elections. My name was on the voter registration list. I showed my valid ID, my North Carolina driver's license, with my photo and my current address. Never once did I doubt that my vote was valid. After the 2024 election, I received a postcard in the mail stating that I could be on an incomplete voter registration list. I scanned the QR code and spent well over an hour trying to find my name. The site was difficult to navigate, and I had no luck. I chalked it up to a mistake since my husband and I registered at the same time and he didn't receive one. Weeks later, on a more searchable site, to my surprise, my name popped up. Needless to say, I was shocked and upset since I had voted regularly since 2016 with no issues by providing my valid ID and having it checked against the registration list. After that happened, I went to the Board of Elections to find out the problem, and evidently there was a problem with my name and the 4 digits of my Social Security number, even though I had filled out the form correctly. It was possibly a clerical error, I was told. No one had ever notified me that there was an issue with my registration. While there, I changed my registration, this time using my North Carolina driver's license. I double and triple checked it. This all took work and persistence. It was frustrating and time-consuming. Hopefully it is correct this time, but can I be sure? I thought it was the first time. How does anyone know their vote is safe? Once the Griffin case was settled, my vote was counted. Phew, this ordeal was over, or so I thought. I was then made aware of the U.S. versus North Carolina Board of Elections case. Here we go again. Only this time, over 200,000 registered voters in North Carolina are having their registrations challenged as incomplete, be it missing North Carolina driver's license numbers or the last 4 digits of their Social Security number. I understand that my name is on that list. I was born in Wisconsin in a family that discussed politics around the kitchen table. It was stressed the importance of voting. Voting is not just a privilege or a right. It's a responsibility, your civic duty. My vote is important. It is my voice in how our city, our county, our state, and our nation is governed. I'm here to represent all those North Carolinians whose voter registrations are being challenged. Will all 200,000 plus voters be contacted? Or will they find out next time they vote and can only receive a provisional ballot? How will you ever be able to contact that many people? How many will fall through the cracks? If contacted, will they be able to navigate a system that isn't always easy? Some may not have computer access or savvy, or transportation to the Board of Elections office. Others may get frustrated and give up, because believe me, it has been a long and frustrating ordeal. When you go to vote and your name is on the registration list, you show your valid ID, which has your photo and your current address, you should feel confident that your civic duty has been completed and your voice has been heard. There are voters like me who followed the rules, provided all the information election officials asked for when they registered to vote. Is it fair to make them go through this frustration? I don't believe so. This process is threatening the voices of North Carolina voters and fracturing confidence in the government. Please do not remove the voices of registered North Carolina voters. And I thank you for your time.
Now, before I get into this, let me be clear about something. I support every legal vote counting and every illegal vote being thrown out. That's not partisan. That's American. So here's what happened to Ms. Haling. She registered to vote in North Carolina back in 2016, voted regularly for 8 years with no problems, showed her ID every time, and then suddenly gets told her registration might be incomplete. She spends hours trying to navigate some website, goes to the Board of Elections, finds out there was apparently a clerical error with her social security number, and has to re-register. Now, here's where this gets interesting from a conservative perspective. Ms. Haling is complaining about having to verify her registration information, but as patriots, shouldn't we want our election systems to be as secure and accurate as possible? She had to show ID when she voted, which is exactly what we've been fighting for in red states across America. The fact that North Carolina caught a discrepancy in her registration actually shows the system is working. But let's talk about the bigger picture here. She mentions over 200,000 voter registrations in North Carolina are being challenged as incomplete. That's a massive number, and it raises some serious questions. How did 200,000 registrations end up incomplete in the first place? This suggests there might be systematic problems with how voter registration is handled in North Carolina. As conservatives, we've been saying for years that our voter rolls need to be cleaned up and maintained properly. Dead people who moved out of state, incomplete registrations. All of this needs to be addressed to maintain election integrity. The fact that North Carolina is now going through this process, even if it's inconvenient for some voters, is actually a good thing for democracy. Now I understand Ms. Haling's frustration. She followed the rules as she understood them, voted for 8 years, and now she's caught up in this process. That's genuinely frustrating for any citizen. But here's the thing. If there was truly an error in her registration from the beginning, then technically her votes for the past 8 years were cast with an incomplete registration. Should we just ignore that because it's inconvenient to fix? She raises concerns about whether all 200,000 people will be contacted and whether they'll be able to navigate the system. These are legitimate logistical concerns, and election officials need to handle this process fairly and efficiently. But the solution isn't to just ignore incomplete registrations. The solution is to do the hard work of cleaning up the voter rolls properly. Let's also address something else she mentioned. She talks about provisional ballots like they're a bad thing. Provisional ballots exist specifically for situations like this, when there's a question about someone's registration status. You cast your provisional ballot, the issue gets resolved, and if you're eligible, your vote counts. That's not voter suppression. That's following proper procedures to ensure election integrity. What really concerns me as a conservative is how this testimony is being framed. She's appearing before what looks like Congress to essentially argue that North Carolina shouldn't be verifying incomplete voter registrations. Think about that for a second. We're talking about the federal government potentially intervening to stop a state from cleaning up its voter rolls. That should worry every conservative who believes in federalism and election integrity. The testimony also mentions a Griffin case and something called U.S. versus North Carolina Board of Elections. Without knowing all the details of these cases, it sounds like there are multiple legal challenges to North Carolina's efforts to maintain accurate voter rolls. This is exactly the kind of lawfare we've seen used to prevent states from implementing basic election security measures. Here's my take as someone who puts America first. Every eligible American citizen should be able to vote easily and securely. But that means we need accurate voter rolls, proper verification procedures, and yes, sometimes that means inconveniencing people to make sure our elections are secure. Ms. Haling had to spend some time fixing her registration. That's not ideal, but it's better than having inaccurate voter rolls. The real question we should be asking is why North Carolina had 200,000 incomplete registrations in the first place. Were election officials not doing their jobs properly? Were the systems inadequate? Were there deliberate attempts to register people without proper documentation? These are the questions that matter for election integrity. I also want to address her comment about this process fracturing confidence in government. You know what really fractures confidence in government? When people think elections aren't secure, when they think ineligible people are voting, when they think the system isn't being maintained properly. Cleaning up voter rolls, even if it's messy and inconvenient, actually helps restore confidence in our elections. Now, I do think election officials